You'll be familiar with this view. This is the view just outside your bedroom from the two chairs. And from there are now a path that goes to the left. Path's partly paved and partly gravel. I've left the hillside in its natural state, other than keeping the prickly bushes at bay. But once you get to the first part of the path, you reach a steep drop down. And from here you can look across to Gavellorey, and there you can see the path going down from its current position. The path goes down quite a steep hillside with a series of steps. Some of them are fairly steep ones, and they twist around the natural rocks, so that you have to be quite careful around some of the rocks. And it brings you down to the first level of terrace. This is where it used to be just prickly weeds, but is now an area of gravel. The scene's moved now, and we're at the bottom of the steps by the side of the pool, looking across the first terrace, the one that we just came down to down the hillside. I'm now moving along that terrace. If you remember, once upon a time I made a narrow little gravel path along here, but it got overgrown by all the thistles and weeds. Well, I've kept the major tree, but now this terrace has steps down to the olive grove. The olive grove is a terrace along which there are about a dozen olive trees now. So looking along this path, you might remember the hillside that we just came down, and then if I pan right round, it's back up to the house and the olive tree by the side of the bedroom. So we move along here, and this path, which is paved, goes through a narrow gap between the hillside and the tree, and is back to the spot where I brought you down to from the bedroom terrace. So to carry on down this hillside, we're now going beyond the middle terrace and approaching the very bottom of the garden. Now this was a no-go area until about 18 months ago, when I cleared all the thistles and constructed a path that goes right down to the bottom and reaches the point where it was all thistles. It's now planted up with young olive trees. I'll show you this from a different angle where the sun's not shining in a minute, but in the meantime I'll turn round. This is the very bottom left hand corner of the garden, and now look back up the path that we've just come back down. There it is, those steps down, and the house on the top left. And now I'm going to show you a completely different view. You're standing now in the olive grove, and there's the steps up to the middle terrace. If I pan to the left, you'll see where the house is, and the pool is just to the left of the picture now. So if I go up this terrace, it brings us back on to that gravel path and the rocky area that I just walked you through. But this time we'll turn left and head towards the pool again. So here is the bottom of the pool wall on your right. You're walking now towards the vegetable patch, but before that there is another path down. So just to check where we are, there are the steps down by the side of the pool. There is the bottom of the pool, and now a new path down this slope and into another gravelled area, a lower terrace. You can see the very bottom of the garden wall is in front of us now. This is partly gravelled area. As we come down, in front of you now is a little dell planted up with olive and fir trees. But as we go down this path goes right across the bottom of the garden. There's the bottom wall on your right. You're coming along now, and I'm heading back towards that bottom left-hand corner that I stopped at some while ago. This is a new path, planted left and right with young trees. They'll come up in about 4 years' time if I'm still around. And here we come up to the bottom corner. This is the olive tree dell on the left, and in front of us the bottom right hand corner that I showed you earlier. That's the path across. Now I'm going to take you back, and here we are again by the side of the pool. So as you're looking out from the house, the far right hand corner of the pool, the steps down, and then this is the path down to the vegetable plot. Now that was here when you were last here, but has been changed quite a bit. As you can see, there's now a paved path that goes the right way through, a new bed to the left. Here's the main vegetable garden with the path now running right through the middle of it. It runs to the grassy area by the gate, the side gate, with my trusty cement mixer in place, still doing some work. And another new path. This one cuts down again towards the bottom of the garden. You're now in the very right hand bottom corner as you look out from your bedroom window. And in the very corner, a maintenance area with compost heap, place to burn things, freshly planted trees right across the bottom. There's the bottom wall of the garden, and as we turn round, this is the path that leads back right across the garden. So we're coming back along this path now. To your left and right is a fallen tree blown over by the winds, and a bag of gravel where I'm still working. But this now brings you back to that wooded dell that I mentioned, and the gravelled area in the middle that goes up to the olive groves. And just to give you a feel again for the position of this, there's the path down that we've just taken to the bottom wall, and here's the vegetable plot looking back now to the house. And there's the house. You can see from this position how much the trees have grown up. The olive trees across the vegetable plot here, and then looking up at the house, the conifers and olive trees all across, which now protect the swimming pool completely. You can't see it from the path. You're now looking off to the side just before the top of the pool, and a new path off to the trees. So here now is the top of the swimming pool, which will be very familiar to you. Same view as ever, and a fantastic one at that. So this is pretty much as when you last came. Now we're in the front garden, and there's the lounge terrace with the steps down. The carport is behind me, and there's the drive. I'll just walk along here and probably see in the distance that the mountains have very little snow on them, even though it's still only April. We've had a very dry winter this year, which augurs for a hot summer. All the plants are flowering, bottlebrush in red and the succulents in purple. They last for about a month. I'll walk straight up the drive. To the right, the olive trees in the sort of grassy area. I've just cut the grass so it looks a bit brown now because we're down to the stalks. I'm walking right up to the gate now. And there's the gate. I'll turn. There we are. And there's the house down the gateway. So just to follow this down so you can see it a little bit. This is what the approach to the house looks like these days. This is the lay-by. As you can see, all very grown up now. Far more than when you were last here. That's the little path that goes to the side of the house. The cacti have also grown considerably. Had to dig some up because there's so many of them now. Carport over to the right. And now heading on down the small path. Apricot tree to your left. And we're going along the path now. Very much grown up. All the trees. There's a path goes off to the left here, which takes you up to the side wall and the compost heap. Here's the area that leads back towards the house. And to your left now, as we turn, is the little seated area that you may remember, shady in the afternoons. This is the area now coming up to the courtyard. There's the courtyard gate, and as you turn to your left, you can see how much the trees have grown up. We're coming now to the courtyard. There we are, back across to the house. And as we come through the courtyard gate, this is what the courtyard looks like these days. All the flowers aren't quite out yet. It's still early April. And there's the travelling man walking through the courtyard, barbecue in the right hand corner, and we go out through the gate opposite the house, come through here, 2 satellite dishes, one for internet, one for TV. Then we turn round and look at this area. Far more plants than last time you were here. An extra small wall built on the left as we look at it here, and then this takes us through to a gravelled area, up to the right the side wall and the compost heap, and then back to the left the path to the house. So this is a circle we've done. This is the outside of the courtyard, walking down back towards the house. And then to complete the trip round through the little path which runs along the front of the house with the lounge terrace to your left there, and takes us back to the drive. And there we are, all the way back to the carport, and finally the front door. Our circuit is complete. And I thought you might like to look out of the lounge window. Mountains in the distance, and you can see the garden is completely covered in trees and plants and vegetation. And now, from the bottom of the pool, looking back at the house, an action shot. Christina's putting the washing out. If she gives us a wave, that would be nice. Yep, we got one. Back to the house, up to the mountains, back of the pool, the carport roof in the distance. Hope you remember all that.